training comes in really good timing for everybody. So we're really excited to have you. So for those of you guys that don't know, Jamie is the co-founder and business coach of the Be Do Have movement. So he's been in the business for over 35 years. He was the number one real estate office team leader in Canada. And now he's here kind of teaching all of you guys, I guess, everything that he knows. So I'm really excited to have you, Jamie, and I think it's going to be a really good webinar for everyone. As usual, I will record it for you guys. So if you do want to go back and watch this, it'll be up on our channel that you guys can go. And then if you have any questions, I'm sure Jamie's going to give his contact information at the end. So yeah, I'm going to let you get started. I'm going to spotlight you. I'm going to turn my voice off and I will let you take it away.
Okay, awesome. Let me just flip over the deck and 1 second. Oh, there it is. It was there. Okay, and a thumbs up. Can we see the EI Master deck? Yes. All right, awesome. And hearing is good, so we had the sound check done. Welcome, everybody. Today's session is about emotional intelligence. And I think it's something that a lot of people do intuitively, naturally. I know I did early in my career. And then I understood that I was hitting a ceiling in my business as a realtor and really started to work on myself through coaching, mentorship back in the day, and really helped me understand the power of being able to connect with people, learning some things about myself along the way, helped me actually sell more real estate, which ended up helping me become a top realtor. We grew a top office. I see a couple of familiar faces and names here as well. So great to see you again. Today's session, I'm not going to preach for an hour, not my style. What I'm going to do is try to make this as interactive as possible. For anybody that can, please comment in the chat as we go along. I'll be asking some questions. And if you can't, I'd just like you to self-reflect on the questions that I'm going to ask to help you get to that next level of building an EI, emotional intelligence mastery. As I'm going through the deck, also, if you see any photos, feel free to take pictures of any photos. I do have a couple offers as well going through, so feel free to sign up for those, get more information. And if you do have any questions afterwards, I will give you a link so you can reach out to me directly as well. Feel free to tag us on Instagram at BeDoHaveMovement and LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if we're not connected, I invite you to reach out and connect and get to know each other on LinkedIn. So before I start today, I have one question to ask you. And in the chat or for yourself, think, do you feel and believe that you could be doing more business than you're currently doing right now? And as I ask the questions, I'm always going to give space to pause. I will continue through, and a little bit later, you'll see there's time for you to do a little bit of work. However, just comment in the chat for me if you do feel you could be doing more business than you're currently doing. And interactivity is very important in my opinion. As you participate here, we participate everywhere. So no judgment in any of these questions, by the way, as we go, just helping you become self-aware. And that's actually one of the components of emotional intelligence, awareness of where we are. So yes, yes, thank you very much for commenting. Yes, 100%. That's a big yes. That's a hell yes. So thank you for that. I want to start off with sharing one idea that has been transformational in my life and the outcome of that idea or the thought process through that. I'd like you to embody that through the rest of the session today. And this is the sense of living and believing you are able and you can achieve more than you're currently living with or having right now in your business. Starting to actually really believe that no matter what's going on in the market today, there's nothing stopping anybody from achieving the goal that they set in January. And even though we're halfway through the year right now, having faith and belief in that is the first step of growing and developing emotional intelligence to the fact that I actually know and believe deep down in my soul that more is possible. And part of this is future pacing our life and stepping in and embodying the concept of being more than we are today. The reason we named our company Be Do Have Movement, it's everything we do holistically is built in around this concept that first we have to change our thinking and belief at a core level because our current thinking and belief is keeping us stuck. And if you want to potentially know where you are, your current business is a direct reflection of what you believe to be true. And somewhere along the way, sometimes what happens is the outside world, the market conditions, interest rates can affect us, and it causes us to actually maybe live below what we normally would do. And if you look last year, maybe your income was more last year or the year before. And I'm hearing a lot of people right now are telling me that they're definitely not on track for their goals this year. So I'm going to put out there to start today's session with the concept that reflect back to what your goal was at the beginning of the year. Just make a note of it, write it down if you can right now, and just embody that feeling. That's how you're going to end up at the end of this year. And we're going to go through the session with that feeling, with that sense and belief. And I'm going to build the belief in today's session. I want to invite you to embody that feeling that you've achieved your goal. And that's what we're going to step through and learn through emotional intelligence. How do we do that? Not only with ourselves, our clients, and then how do we overcome objections that clients are going to show up? Because that's the context of what we're going to review today. If I could ask for a sense in the chat, how many years have you been in real estate? I always like to get a feeling of the room. How many years have you been in real estate? Just type that in the chat for me. And if you can also, what are you expecting or hoping to gain out of today's session? You're investing the most valuable commodity you have in your life to be here, and that's time. So I want to make sure I'm covering and giving you what you're expecting. I can model and be fluid in this session to make sure that that happens for you. Okay, 11 years, we're seeing 4 years, 8 years. Training room, I guess that's cumulative or one person. I'll assume that's an average. Julian, my gosh, Julian, 10 years. Boy, I think I remember when you were first getting into the business. Good to see you. Um, so I'm not seeing anybody that's really been in this year 30 plus years. And that's a good thing because number one is you probably have a lot of habits maybe that are keeping you stuck. Oh, broker 47. Okay, I'm done, and I'd like to pass the mic over to the broker. We've been through a lot. Anybody that's been in this business for a very long time, what we're experiencing right now in this market, we've seen this show before. And the biggest struggle I've noticed over the last couple of years is most people that have been in the business less than 20 years have never been through such a dramatic shift in the market, which is causing a lot of people to feel stuck. And as a result, maybe not even staying in real estate or picking up something, another job to help support you in this on this journey. Seeing a lot of that right now, and the numbers are telling the story if we look at what's happening in the industry. Having said that, this is such a massive opportunity. This is an opportunity market. It's an incredible market. Last month, there was just over 6,200 sales. So there was 12,000 opportunities to sell a house last month, listing and buying in. So the first thing I want to do is impress upon you, this is an abundant market. This is part of the emotional intelligence that I'm portraying to you as a coach is to help you see more than maybe what you're currently experiencing. So as we go through this, you're going to step into this whole concept that I've achieved my goal. So we're going back to be that person. I've achieved my goal and there's massive opportunity. Quick snapshot of myself, licensed in 1986, been through the ups, been through the downs a couple times on this journey. Led a company downtown Toronto and became number one in Canada for 3 years in a row. And made a decision one day when I always say I lost the loving feeling. I knew it was time to follow my heart. And that's when I left that opportunity and co-founded the Be Do Have movement with my business partner, who is my daughter, who lives in Nashville in the States. And we are a business life coaching company. We are a holistic company where we work on the mindset first, not on what you need to do, the steps and the actions. Because if we can shift the thinking, like I started today, I want you to embody the feeling you've already achieved the goal. Because then when you interact and we interact through the emotional intelligence questions I'm going to ask you, you're going to feel different. You're going to have more confidence. So I want to invite you to embody that. Today's session is one piece of a program that we've created that's designed to help realtors create consistent income in their business. 75,000 every 90 days, it's a $300,000 business. That's how we've laid out all of the modules that we teach. And today's session is just one snapshot of it. So we're going to engage on what's the first action step. I invite you to take a screenshot of the QR code. This is an income assessment tool that we have. It's completely free. There's 10 questions, and you self-assess yourself. Part of emotional intelligence is being self-aware. So you're going to self-assess yourself based on those questions and then give yourself a score. So scan the QR code. You can come back and do the assessment later. There's 10 questions, and you're going to rate yourself. The total score is 30. Once you've completed the assessment, you're going to see some opportunities and gaps in your business. And I invite you to let's jump on a call. I'm happy to review that with you and review your results with you. Again, completely no obligation. I'm a big believer in serve first. I get everything I want in my business and life by helping others get what they want. So I'm not attached to helping you, whether you consider joining us in coaching or not. That's a byproduct of everything I do and have ever done. Okay, first question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, and if you can, enter in the chat. If not, write down for yourself. How well do you manage your emotions when a client pushes back, ghosts you, frustrates you, challenges you, causes stress in your life? Give yourself a rating. And if you can in the chat, just type in a number for where you feel you are right now. And the reason I'm asking for this as you're doing that is it's a foundation. It's self-aware of where you are. And my goal is to help you raise your score that you've self-assessed yourself by the end of today's session. So we're going to help raise that number. And alcohol, I'm in the wrong room. That's what I can tell you right now. We're going to rate ourselves. So rate yourself on a score of 1 to 10, because we are going to come back and reflect after I share some ideas with you. And thank you for everyone's participation. This is part of the game that we're on. I gamify everything in my life. So this in my mind is the exact same thing. So now you're active in the business. I want everyone to go back to a situation for yourself that you've experienced. It could have been yesterday, could have been this week, could have been in the last couple of weeks, could have been the last couple of months. But think back of a situation recently you had with a client and a conversation you had with them that maybe it felt off. The conversation was off. There was stress. Maybe there was some anger. Maybe you said something that you didn't want to say, or vice versa. Maybe it was a conversation you've been pushing off or avoiding. Something that didn't go as planned. Could even be the sale. You negotiated, you didn't get the sale done. Could have been a buyer that's decided, you know what, I'm going to wait. Or we as realtors sometimes think it's a great time to buy, it's a great price, yet the buyers may not agree. Alternatively, sellers maybe want a little bit more than the market's telling them right now. These are the conversations I'd like you to think about. And I want everyone to have one conversation in mind, because we're going to ask some questions that are going to bring you back to that conversation so you can start to ask yourself some questions. So we're going to help go through those conversations for you so you can elevate your emotional intelligence to help overcome objections and industry challenges. That's why we're becoming self-aware right now. We're thinking of a situation, we're thinking of a client. Everyone has those clients, right? That may cause some stress. Maybe you don't know how to deal with them, or you feel pressured every time you talk to them. Maybe they're being aggressive and they want to lead the whole listing process. Like those are the type of conversations I encourage you to just think about and feel right now. And we're going to cover the 5 elements of emotional intelligence that you can build trust with your clients and help drive your results in your business to a different level. So we have to think of the situation that's anchoring you to something that is real for you. Everyone will have a different situation. And now we get to explore the 5 key pieces of emotional mastery. First one is self-awareness. So self-awareness is basically understanding your emotions, your strengths, your weaknesses, really become aware of how great you are, the opportunities you have, maybe your opportunities to grow, maybe some habits you'd like to change. So just really owning it without judgment. It's really important here that I say without judgment, because I've judged myself for a very long time early in my life, and it still shows up. Comparison is another example that can show up in self-awareness. I invite everyone to look in the mirror, not be distracted, put on the blinders, and just really look at yourself and start to see how great you are, all the gifts that you have. This process of self-awareness often involves self-reflection. So we're going to start to understand ourselves better. That's the first step of emotional intelligence. The second piece is self-regulation. So controlling your emotions. We often used to say, keep your emotions between the lines. So we never get really high, we never get really low. And as a result of that, we have this sense of calm that comes over us. So when we can regulate our emotions in any situation, it comes across as being calm, which ironically attracts people to us because they may see you as a leader that can keep you calm and safe. That's part of self-regulation. Noticing triggers that happen. Maybe there's a certain type of personality that can trigger you. They say certain things. Past behaviors might cause you to react to situations or people. So just become aware of this. And that on that point of reaction, one thing I learned in my career was respond versus react. I was very reactive in my life early on. I'm a high D, high I personality for anybody that's aware of the DISC assessments and who you are is based on personality. I am a very high D, and I was very reactive. I learned over time to regulate my reaction in any situation. And the way I learned to do that was literally count in my mind 1, 2, 3, 4. So, first tip I want to give you right now is being able to regulate yourself is give yourself space after somebody finishes talking. Noticing this with your clients. And I do this with my dad every day when I talk to him. He'll actually say, Hey, are you listening? So he's questioning whether I'm listening or if I'm there, and I'm quiet and I'm giving him space to speak. And that's an example of self-regulation and not reacting or commenting right away. Big part of emotional intelligence. Third piece on this is empathy, understanding and sharing the feelings and perspectives of others, putting yourself in others' shoes to understand their perspective. And as a good example of that right now is the current market condition. Listings are on the market. I was just looking at last month's Market Watch, and there's 31,603 active listings, up by 30%. So there's a ton of inventory on the market that isn't selling. What if somebody wants to sell because they're under financial pressure? They may not tell you that. You may not even be aware of that. But maybe part of the reason they're resisting bringing the price down or doing a price improvement, the reason they're resisting that is they need X amount of money to be able to sell the property. Emotional intelligence is being aware of this and having empathy for people in situations. And we're going to talk about asking great questions in a bit, learning in conversation how to take conversations deeper so you can understand what's going on in somebody's life so you can actually feel and guide them as a leader for the next best step for them. Empathy for buyers right now is the market conditions, and buyers have opportunity. Interest rates obviously are starting to come down, and there's some, I feel, great opportunities out there. However, the buyers have been through almost decades of chasing the market up, getting caught in bidding wars. And as realtors, we would say, hey, you need more money. That was our negotiation strategy, right? We just need more money. There's 20 offers. And that doesn't work right now. And now the buyers are on the opposite side of that. I am referring to this market for the buyers as a buyer's revenge market. The buyers want a deal right now. So interest rates drop. Realtors, we think things are going to get really active quick. And the buyers realize, okay, market's not moving quick. I'm just going to sit tight. Or maybe your buyers are putting offers in that are much less than what you deem to be, or the market is even telling you is market value because they want a deal. So having the empathy and understanding, like this is what maybe they're going through. Maybe they last house they overpaid, and this time they want to make that up. So empathy is understanding and putting yourself in situations that other people might be going through. And the best way to do that is asking questions, getting deeper involved into what they're thinking and feeling. Emotional intelligence, mastery, social skills. build positive relationships, having effective communication and collaboration. I love the word collaboration with your buyers, with your sellers. It's a great way to feel and they feel like I'm just going to have a conversation. I'm not going to tell you what to do because nobody wants to be told what to do, especially in this market. You try to tell somebody what to do, they're going to be like a kid, they're going to resist. And as a result, that's going to apply pressure and make any negotiation very difficult. Versus being able to collaborate, listen, you want to be able to pull people to you, attract people to you, opportunities, sales, transactions. And when you can master your emotional intelligence and really, really understand and feel this, it literally is like magic. Opportunities are everywhere. Every conversation is turning into something that's moving you forward and the client forward. Power to choose. Oh, I love that. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. That space is our power to choose our response. Powerful language. Powerful, powerful language. So understanding that in that statement, who's in control? We're in control. So we're always in control of our attitude and our actions and our responses to situations, people, or events. Motivation. Persistence to pursue goals with enthusiasm and resilience, despite what is happening in your life right now. So I started today off by saying, go back to your goal that you set in January. And I'm going to encourage everybody to reset that goal today as if that's your reality at the end of the year. And emotional intelligence is guiding ourselves forward, right? Having faith and belief that we complete what we start. We are goal achievers. So go back to that goal and just start to put that out there for yourself. We're not going to change the goal because that's often what we do. If we don't see how we're going to hit it, we lower the goal. We're not going to do that. We're going to maintain the goal. And you have an incredible office and amazing leaders. They will guide you through this process. Maintain that goal as if there's no option for failure. Because as we become self-aware and we're regulating our emotions, we're not going to let the market determine our success. We stay motivated because we've set that goal for ourselves and our selfish and personal motivation and desires. So we have to be connected to our goal to the point that you are so emotionally connected, failure is not an option. And when you can do that and always have that there top of mind, one of the things I like to use is a goal card. I have a goal card. I have my goal written down. I carry this with me. It's in front of me. I read it multiple times throughout the day. I can touch it, feel it, close my eyes, and I'm emotionally attached to this goal being achieved. We've all heard this. This isn't a brand new idea. It took me years to do this, to write down my goal. No idea why. Wasn't trained this way. My parents never talked about this. It was all learned behavior, and I mentally resisted it. Another idea from today's session, write down the goal that you've set for yourself at the beginning of the year, write it down and read it every single day. Napoleon Hill, one of the messages from Think and Grow Rich is simply that. The last thing with emotional mastery is helping you understand that everybody has a story. This ties all the five elements together. Every conversation from today forward, with everybody you have a conversation with, understand that everybody has a story. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's going through something. That in itself, that awareness builds your empathy to an entirely different level. So we're doing the transaction. I get why we're doing it. We're out there doing our business because that's our goal. We've chosen this career and we have our goals and we want to make the money to live our life. Everyone else has a story. So when we can start to connect their stories and then incorporate our story with their story, so now we move forward together. This is mastering emotional intelligence. It helps you create more sales, more money, and more business. So now I'm going to invite somebody that would like to go through a little bit of a coaching session. Just say yes in the chat if you're open to it, because I'm going to take some questions and ideas and reflect back with you. And you'd have to be able to either type quick in the chat or unmute yourself if that's a possibility. Because I want to help guide you through a process of how do you actually make this live and real when you're in a conversation. So if we can have a volunteer, and if not, I'll roll. But I'm going to leave it out there and I invite you to do it. So emotional intelligence check-in As we're thinking back to that situation, that client conversation, that buyer or seller you were working with that's pushed back, think of your energy. How did your energy influence the direction of that conversation? Was it confrontational? Was it inviting? Did you come from curiosity? Or did you have a closed mind and you were focused on getting the transaction done? This is part of the emotional intelligence piece, understanding how you are participating in the conversation. Understanding your emotions actually helps you connect with the clients. It builds trust and it drives results forward faster and easier. When you can read the emotions behind the client's words, you literally stop sounding like a salesperson. People get you, they feel connected. That's what emotional intelligence is. And you felt it yourself. You've met people and you just felt connected with them. You can have a quick conversation with somebody and you just feel connected. Like they get me, they understand me. You feel heard. That's probably somebody that has a very high degree of emotional intelligence. And as a result, they are allowing you to feel comfortable and flowing with them in whatever it is they're looking to do or have in their life or business or buy or sell a house. Tried to stay calm and listen to why they wanted to back out of the deal. It was a buyer. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so you had a situation where the buyer all of a sudden started to back out, and that's going to go to outside circumstances. So, in a case where somebody is in a confrontation or they're doing something that all of a sudden pivots what was happening, so you were negotiating, and then all of a sudden they wanted to back out of a deal, that could have been after it was written, it could have been during the negotiation. What we want to do with emotional intelligence is start to notice some things. Number one is body language. There was probably indication prior to them saying that, where if we were aware of what was going on based on body language, tonality, words they were using, we might catch it before they get to that point where they're ready to walk away at the very end. And the goal of hearing it and listening to the words in advance, listening and asking more questions, we may never get to that situation where they're feeling pressured. Because obviously something was going on with that person. They were feeling pressure at the end. Maybe it was the pressure of making a decision. Maybe it was the pressure of, oh my God, what have I done? Buyer's remorse could have been tied into all that even before they signed the agreement. So knowing and understanding that as we listen, listen for the words people use. Basic communication is body language, mirroring and matching, rate of speech. If somebody's a fast talker, talk fast. If they're very slow, methodical, we slow ourselves down. So we're reflecting back to them who they are, not necessarily who we are. Again, this is emotional intelligence through awareness, coming from an empathetic place. So I'm hearing that person, that buyer may want to walk out of the deal. Here's here's a script. And I know realtors don't like scripts. Here is language that I would recommend you can use anytime there's some resistance, somebody's maybe not moving forward. That's interesting. Tell me more and let it sit. It doesn't matter if you think you know what's going on behind the scenes. Allow them to express themselves. Okay, you want to back out of the deal. Repeat back what they just said. That shows them subconsciously that you've heard them and you've connected. I understand you want to back out of the deal at this point. Tell me more and let it sit. And in sales, what we want to do is we want to give them space to speak. So when we ask a question, they have to speak or give us an answer. And as a salesperson, I know myself early in my career, I talked myself out of many situations or many sales because I just kept talking. A lot of salespeople will talk themselves out of transactions, out of decisions. So we just learned how to ask a question and give people time and space to answer that question. So in a situation where a buyer is walking out and wants to walk out of a deal, that's interesting. Tell me more. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're thinking. You can expand on it and ask a couple other pointed questions around that. Tell me more. And then I'm going to let it sit. And I'm going to sit there and I'm not going to say a word. And as a salesperson, when you do that, and you can try this with your family, your spouses, your kids, part of learning to understand that we can give space so people can speak. That way we hear and understand the situation as long as it takes. Tell me more. And just look them straight in the eye. Often the situation isn't what you might think. Maybe it is. But until we know more, we want to hold space for it. So they want to walk out of the deal. Tell me more. They're going to give me their response, right? They're going to tell me what it was that's happening for them. Is there anything else? And take it deeper and take it deeper. So as you're doing that, what you're doing for yourself is you're leading them to make the best decision for themselves. I'm personally never attached to when I was selling real estate, when I was running a real estate company and recruiting realtors, or in my coaching business. I am never attached at this point in my life and career if somebody decides to join us on whatever I'm doing. Because if it's not right for them, it's the decision is no, and I'm okay with that. So not being attached to the outcome is again a vital part of emotional intelligence. It causes people to feel more comfortable and it actually pulls them to you. And I'm just looking at the comment here. So let me read that. We need to put ourselves in their shoes. Absolutely. There are so many kinds of personalities, but understanding different point of views helps us remain more calm and understanding. And quickly remind yourself maybe you're experiencing something and this behavior isn't trying to hurt you or against you, your directions as real estate professionals. This will allow you to help serve your clients better and follow through. 100% truth in that. That's emotional intelligence. Just being able to understand that, to ask the questions, pull yourself out of the equation of the sale. Now, I know as a salesperson, as a realtor, when you haven't maybe sold a house in a month or two or three, like you need the sale, right? It's like pressure time. Maybe finance is getting tough. So remember, I said everyone has a story. Your story could be guiding the situations with your clients right now, which is actually pushing them away from us. If we can flip our story, pull ourselves out of the equation, not be attached to the outcome, and really apply emotional intelligence, asking questions, slowing down, getting clear on what it is and why it's important for them, honestly, you will be shocked at how fast business starts to convert for you. And it's sort of counterintuitive. It's very, once you've lived this, and I know every realtor has lived this, business just shows up sometimes. It's because you're living in a state of being that's very calm, relaxed. You have a sense of knowing. That's why I started the session off with put yourself in that place in the future. You've already achieved your goals. So thank you for sharing that in the training room. Client struggles. Here's a few more. And think of this for yourself. The last time a client gave you an objection, I want to wait. I'm not sure this is the right time. I need to sell for X. I can't take that price. I need this, or I'm not going to sell. I'm going to wait. I think they're asking too much. Often we hear that from buyers right now. I'd never pay that price. Were you tuned into what they were feeling or just what they were saying? This is where we get below the surface. It's not the words people say, it's what is the meaning behind the words. And if we're just rushing in the sales situation or the process, we're likely not hearing the feeling or even aware of what's going on behind or underneath the surface. So as we become more aware of ourselves, our awarenesses, our empathy, all that's built in to helping ourselves first, the more we help ourselves, the more we can help other people. You're going to start to notice, you're going to start connecting and feeling. It's an intuitive process. We all have intuition. For years, I wasn't aware of mine or didn't listen to it. Now, everything I do is intuitive. And here's how it reflects and shows up probably for most people. Have you ever walked into a room and there's somebody in that room energetically you're not aligned to? And then in the other corner of the room, there might be somebody there that feels that, there's an alignment there or there's a connection there. That's energy. Becoming more intuitive and attached and aware of your intuition energetically, you start to notice it everywhere and with everybody and in every conversation. So when we start to hear these objections, I'm not sure this is the right time. That's interesting. Tell me more. Just went back to the previous language. I need to sell for X. Oh, I totally understand you need to sell for X. What's important about X? Instead of trying to convince somebody up front, there's a time to walk somebody through the process. We don't need to convince, we need to guide and lead. The more you guide and lead people, they convince themselves. That's sales mastery, that's EI mastery. I think they're asking too much. I totally understand what you're saying. Tell me more. So you notice how that language can be used now today with everybody you're going to speak to. And I would challenge everybody to gamify this and notice every client conversation this week between now and Friday and start to listen, slow down, start to hear the words people are using, and don't try to convince somebody. Ask more questions. Tell me more. That's interesting. What specifically do you mean? Those are examples. So when we hear these client struggles, this becomes really easy to help them overcome the struggles because maybe it's not a struggle, maybe it's not even an objection, maybe it's just a statement. But if we're not aware of that, we can get into trying to overcome that statement or overcome that objection. We think it's an objection. Often it's just a comment or point of view. So understand this, most objections aren't even about time or money. They're rooted in fear. They're fear of something, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of making a mistake, fear of doing something maybe they're not comfortable with. Deep down, listen for the fear and ask the questions that are going to help you understand what's happening below the surface. Emotional intelligence involves slowing down, us. And the beautiful part is, everyone that's here today, you're working on your personal skills and development. And I honor you for being here. This tells me you've put up your hand and you're here. And my intention is for you to hear one thing that you can take and apply, ideally today. Because the faster you put it into application, the quicker you can create your experience from what you just did. If you're here listening and you haven't made any notes, there's a strong probability when we're done, yes, you can come back to the video and the recording. Maybe you won't. That's the habit. Maybe you won't. I record everything and I don't always go back. Likelihood of implementing what we're hearing diminishes over time. So if we don't apply right away, by the end of today, we've all gone back to our normal lives. So my goal today is, like I said, we rated ourselves when we started, and to change one idea in your mind that you could implement today with simple ideas, not getting overcomplicated with all these scripts. And I've mastered scripts, by the way. I built my business cold calling and I tracked my numbers. I did over 75,000 cold calls. I can do it all day long. I had great success at it. And I really had great success because I mastered emotional intelligence. So whether it's at the door, whether it's cold calling, whether it's at an open house, whether it's your CRM, your database, reaching out and connecting on a regular basis every single day. Another thing I would recommend right now for everybody, applying these ideas and reaching out and connecting with everybody you know that's in your current CRM or database. The next 90 days, make a game out of it. I'm working with my clients right now, and depending who they are, we're anywhere from 3 to 10 conversations a day. That's it. That's what we're doing. We're just focused on that. And ironically, they're having pretty good quarters because they're engaged and they're doing the activity, showing up as the person that's already achieved their goals and applying emotional intelligence. So you see, it's a bit of a puzzle and it's all interwoven together. And as we become more aware of this, you actually guide yourself through this. And then the minute you get a response that feels good and you see it moves the needle, now you have the belief. Now you anchor that in your mind and now you just keep doing it over and over. So overcoming objections, when a client pushes back or raises an objection that might catch you off guard, just understand it might just be a statement. And are you showing up as a salesperson and trying to close them? We've all watched that movie, right? Glenn Ross, ABC, Always Be Closing. Hard pressure salespeople, which isn't probably most of us, certainly not me. I like to lead and guide people. So I feel I've mastered my communication to a point where I can ask the questions, I hear what you're looking for, and now I can guide you to make the best decision for yourself by more questions I ask. So we're guiding them as a leader. So I encourage everyone now, write down the word leader. I am a leader. Embody this concept in your mind that you are a leader. And every single person on this call is a leader. You're a leader because you're leading yourself through life. So now we are going to be a leader for our clients. I have 4 questions for you. These 4 questions I learned from a coach, and it literally changed everything. Every conversation, you can incorporate these 4 questions in this order: what, how, who, when. What, how, who, when. So I encourage you again to write that down, make a note of that for yourself, and start to think about when you meet somebody, incorporating the what question into the conversation. What is it you're looking to achieve? What is it about this property that you like? Just start to think about, how can I incorporate that what question? It's a triggering question that causes people to be open-minded, and they'll give you what's likely surface level going on in their head. Then we can bring that down, as we've already discussed. Tell me more. The next question is how. So you're working with a buyer. How do you think we're going to proceed and get this property at the right price for you? Asking that question, they will give you a response based on what they think is going to work. Now you have the opportunity to take that question deeper. Who? Who else is involved in this process with you? Who question, we isolate and want to make sure we're working with decision makers, or is there somebody else that they need to consult with or get advice from? And then lastly, when? When do you want to put an offer in? When I was working with buyers, I would set it up right in the beginning. I had a whole buyer process. And before I showed a property, I would simply say this: look, we're going to be looking at a number of properties. There's a good chance you might buy one of the first 2 or 3 I show you. I embedded in their mind that that could be a possibility. And I'm going to know it's the right property because every time we look at a property, as we're leaving the house, I'm going to ask you this simple question: is this the one? What that did is that helped me ask that closing question: is this the one? So they started to expect that answer or that question. And then we would have conversations around it. When I incorporate that into my script, my language, what happened for me is I started selling properties quicker. I didn't have to show 20, 30, 40, 50 homes because I did that. What, how, who, when, and ultimately helping people get clearer so they can make better decisions faster. That's your job as a leader. That's your job as a master salesperson when you've now taken emotional intelligence and incorporating that at a high level. I love this industry challenges. Right now, there's a lot going on in the world, right? The market is the market. There's interest rates. Like the last few years, there's been craziness. Um, Consider the last time a client backed out of a deal because of the market. Somebody already shared that. Or life happened, or they had a change of heart, or interest rates. They're coming down now, so it actually is beneficial versus rising because maybe they got outpaced. Maybe they just want a deal. Okay, so let's just start to think about challenges that are happening because of the industry. Rates, inventory, buyer confidence, buyers wanting a deal. We can't control any of this. But what we can control is our mindset, how we show up. Every single day, we can have total control of ourselves, our thinking, and what we do, and how we interact with people. So take a moment and pause and let any objection you get be an opportunity to lead them into their next decision. And we can only do that if we slow down and ask questions. So whatever they give as a reason not to move forward or any challenge or struggle, just in your mind, start to think there's something below the surface. That's a surface objection. It's probably a habit. And it's no different than when you walk into a store and you're looking for somebody to help you and there's nobody there. And then they show up. And when they do, hi, can I help you? I'm just looking, thanks. That's a programmed response. So a lot of the responses buyers and sellers have are programmed responses. So understand that. And as we're developing emotional intelligence and learning how to connect and ask better questions and give space for answers, Don't cut people off when they talk. Let them complete their finished thought. As you do that, you're going to start to notice these industry challenges. It's just noise. Maybe it's what they're holding on to. The reality is, it's not the reason that they want to buy or sell. People today want to buy or sell, and I think this is our number one opportunity. And I say this is the opportunity market. The only thing we can do right now is find people that want to buy or sell and are motivated to do so in the current market environment. If somebody wants to hold on to a price that's too high, we probably can't help them right now. Unless we find out maybe there's something below the surface and they're motivated and they have to sell financially, well, maybe we can now have an opportunity to, okay, can we help them financially? Mortgage brokers, a way to redo their financing. But if they're in a situation where they're upside down, and unfortunately, when I went through the market myself, I had 7 properties, and I had one back in the day that I had to sell and take a loan on as the owner in order to close the deal. So I had a loan and no more property because I was underwater. Are there people out there in the market right now that you probably are working with? Maybe it want to be, could be one of your listings that's on the market and the seller doesn't want to come down in price. Let's find out what's going on below the surface so we can guide them and ask great questions to move them forward. The only people we can truly work with now is motivated that are ready to buy or sell in the current market condition. And if they're not, now's not the right time. It's okay. And we just move them down the line and we help find more people that we can connect with. So industry challenges are just a reflection of what's happening in the world that often people use as their reason for doing or not doing something. Our job as master salespeople is to get below the surface. It's not just about transactions. This whole process is about connection, clarity, and confidence. So as we're evolving and developing our emotional intelligence just on this call today, let me ask you the same question that we started with. On a scale of 1 to 10, everything I've talked about, I've given you a couple ideas, some questions, some thoughts, giving people space. How will you now manage your emotions when a client pushes back, ghosts you, frustrates you, or challenges you? And re-rate yourself for me. And re-rate it for yourself, more importantly. Did your number change? Did it go up? Did it stay the same? Did it go down? And again, there's no judgment in any of this. It's just what's happening for you. So if I could get a couple in the chat for me. Okay, the iPhone 8. Whoever just said 8, did that number change from when we started? What was the number you'd rated yourself early on? Okay, that's the intention today. My number one intention in a short period of time is to help you think different. I feel as a leader, just like you're all leaders for your clients, the goal is to help your people think different so they can make better decisions. So if I, in a short period of time, can help shift a thought process, and I think the number one thing that's coming to my mind right now is just slowing down and asking people to extrapolate on what they're thinking. Tell me more, giving space for that. You watch how that whole conversation goes in a direction that you probably weren't even aware of. And this just popped in my head. I'm intuitive, like I said, so I'm going to put it out there for you. There is a strong probability right now that people in your world, in your database that you know, that you've had a relationship with, are under financial pressure. A great opportunity over this next 90 days is to reach out and connect with your CRM and just check in with people. And I'll give you another script for that. And the script would be, hey, Caitlin, it's Jamie calling. I just thought of you. How are you doing? It could simply be that. Again, we talked about connecting. This goes back to connecting. If we can connect with people in a calm, relaxed manner, and they feel comfortable, and they will open up for us based on the questions we ask. So I invite you to be open to that and step into that leadership, thinking through, and I know this is recorded, so I'm very grateful that's so, because you could literally go back through this and pick out one or two things you probably didn't hear as you were sitting here live, because we sometimes go on mental trips, right? We're here and then our mind travels. one or two things that you can get out of this session today, and then I invite you to incorporate that into your world right now with realtors or other realtors you're working with and buyers and sellers. Now, I've been talking about buyers and sellers, but this literally works with realtors as well. Because if you understood the other realtor and maybe they have a story, maybe they haven't sold a house for a while, that is important to know as you're negotiating. You are all leaders. We lead people to making the best decision for themselves. So I'm going to put up the QR code again for you. Invite you to take a picture of that. And it's again, you can watch the recording. And I invite you to answer those questions, complete the assessment for yourself. You download it, it's online. And if you're open to it, book a time and I'm happy to review that with you. And maybe we can find one or two things specifically for you and your business to help you right now. Again, to mention, this is one part of a program that we do. And I wanted to just take another minute, if that's okay with you, to give you a quick overview of what that program is. And I'll be sending further details after as well that Caitlin can pass out. So again, it's a rinse and repeat process. This is a program that's designed on 3 steps. We call it the 3 Cs. It's the course, which is an online digital course. You have lifetime access to it. We do coaching every week. We have a 1 hour where all the members get together. We reflect on what the lessons was from the week, and then we have a conversation like we did today, full interaction, and everybody's giving perspective and feedback about the lesson, what we're teaching, and how to incorporate that and where the struggles might be. So it's live interaction and implementation. That's the purpose of the coaching. We call it rapid fire help so you can get unstuck in that moment on the call. And then the third part, and this came up over the last couple of years since we've created the program, is the community. People were telling us they were feeling lost, isolated in the industry. You guys are all part of a great office. So we're very lucky, actually, because that's not the case across the industry. Being connected with people that are on the same path, on the same journey together, brings so much value. And the beautiful part of the community that we've created and are continually adding new members to is everyone's on this journey to create a business that generates 75,000 or more every 90 days. So it's this repetition, and all the tools and everything we use are in alignment to making that your reality. And I wanted to give an offer, an invitation for anybody that may be interested in this. Um, our program is regularly $3,000. It's a 16-week program. And I'd like to extend an invitation with the Century 21 special and 50% off that investment for anybody that is interested to pursue it or get more questions and move forward. And the availability is up until July 18th. Part of that is not only the program access, I will offer 2 one-on-one coaching sessions. We usually do one at the beginning, so we have a real clear roadmap of what your next 4 months is going to be and look like, detailed, broken down to all the activities you're going to do. So you have 100% clarity, no noise, no distractions. So then you can take the program and implement it right into your business. So it's very, very effective based on your own individual needs. And then we have the live weekly coaching as well, as I mentioned. And here's the best way to reach me. Number one, the assessment. Make sure you do that. There's the mindsetroadmap.com is the enrollment page for the program if you are interested, and or if you want to learn more, book a call, jamiepurvis.com. So I'm happy to do a halftime reset. Perfect time of the year. Again, we're going back to the fact that we've nailed our goal. I've already achieved my goal. We have the confidence, and maybe there's some things that are still feeling or you're feeling blocked around. I'm happy to have a conversation with you, and there's no obligation or commitment or financial price for that. I'll just open it up if you're open to doing that. And in closing, that's emotional intelligence. Putting the first step, awareness is on you, your personal growth, your personal development. When you grow, your business grows to the extent you do. So I encourage you just to take what we've talked about today, take one or two ideas, implement it this week, and just notice what happens. And that's the reflection part of self-awareness. Just start to notice how things show up differently for you. And that's us. 3 minutes to spare, Caitlin.
That was awesome. Yeah, I really liked that. I think a lot of agents were, I have a shy group of agents, if you can't tell.
It's
Lots of
all
people don't
good.
like cameras and they're pretty shy, but I think that was a really great session and good timing. So we really appreciate the hour that you just spent with us. And hopefully some people contact you and reach out, but I'm sure we'll bring you back too for some other sessions. That was really good.
Awesome. My pleasure. And again, thank you everybody for investing your time today. I'm very grateful for that and appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll chat with you guys soon. And I'll send you guys out the recording probably tomorrow.
Have a wonderful day. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye now.